Am I the a-hole for sharing a coworker's erotic fiction with others in the office? A coworker was sharing their screen with us during a brief component of a presentation and I happened to catch a page open to the side. I was bored during the presentation so absent-mindedly started reading it, and to my surprise I realized it was a dirty story. It was well written, and actually pretty hot. To the point that I thought, let me grab this for later. I was able to discern from the available window what the story title was, and the name of the website, so I went to the website and I did manage to find the same story. I ended up really enjoying the story, so I clicked on the username and read a few of the other stories. There were some serious stories with multiple parts or recurring characters, and one was, to my utter shock, pretty obviously our office and people in it, which meant this wasn't something they were reading. This was something they were writing. I was so amused by there being about 24 erotic stories of the people in our office that without thinking I messaged the entire link to a longtime friend explaining what I'd found out that day. I had intended it to just be a laugh between us, but I hadn't communicated that to them in time because they immediately sent it to 5 other people. You can see where this is going. Our entire office knows about it now, especially with so little other socialization or inter-office drama. So the poor author managed to reverse engineer the spread and find out I'm the one who first found it and sent it around. They're mortified, beyond embarrassed, actually seriously considering quitting because they're not sure how they could reasonably return to work with these people after they'd read about something like this and how she thinks about them in the context of fantasy. I apologized and told her it's because I thought it was so well written that I looked them up and read them in the first place, but understandably, that wasn't enough to smooth this over. I don't know whether I'm an idiot who made an honest mistake in the moment, or an arsehole who made a malicious mistake that's inexcusable. Am I the a-hole? This sub is weird. He's the a-hole for sharing what was private. Fine, whatever. But she's not the a for writing erotic stories about real people without their consent and then publishing them publicly. That is a blatant a-hole move, creepy as F, and a giant red flag. I wonder how all the people writing "You're the a-hole" would feel if somebody wrote and then published an erotic story about them without their consent. Very clear everyone sucks here. Anyone saying otherwise is a creep. Oh, thank goodness for this comment. I'm a woman working in an office setting, and if I publicly posted erotic stories about a coworker without their consent, I would be fired immediately, and our COO and HR would be in a meeting room with the company lawyers to prepare for reports of sexual harassment just in case. I generally don't like to play the gender reversal card, but if this post was about a dude writing wank material describing the women in his office in pornographic situations, I think people would have an easier time seeing how unprofessional and crude this behavior is. Op does not get a pass for their part, but it is unacceptable how we are brushing over such creepy behavior from this coworker. Ugh, gross. I think it depends on how identifiable the story is. If Op didn't know who wrote it going in, would they know that it's based on their office? I write erotica, and the reality is that I take inspiration from my life when creating characters. I've only once had a real person function as a thinly veiled character in my stories, and it was another author who liked my stories. I had permission, and she was not identifiable to others, but I've definitely used various aspects of other people to inspire me. Imagine those police sketch kits they use, where you pick one chin out of 15, a set of eyes from a dozen of those, etc., but with personality traits. No one reading my stories, except a aforementioned friend, would be able to identify themselves, and she would be able to because she knows it's her. There is a lot of porn on the internet. Unless someone wrote a story about exotic blueberry, their porn writing friend who spends too much time on Reddit, likes cheese, and looks similarly to me, and I found it, how would I know? You'd have to camouflage pretty badly. Everyone sucks here. Okay, she's a creep who writes porn about her colleagues, but you sound just like a schoolyard bully who found someone's diary and read it out loud to the class. That defended yourself saying, but it's just so well written I had to. However, you had two choices here to 1. Ignore it. 2. Report it 2 hours that your colleague was writing erotica about her colleagues. No one else in your office had to know about it. You did neither. You actively snooped around and made a lot of people very uncomfortable for the sake of drama. I'm gonna go against the grain and say not the a-hole. He shared the link with a friend. It doesn't specify if it was a coworker, but the wording makes it sound like it isn't. Also, he didn't steal anything or breach their privacy. They published their work online for other people to see. Should he have shared every detail including the name of the person who wrote it when he shared with his friend? No. I would say his friend is the a-hole, since he knowingly sent it to people at that office that were probably included in the stories. Also, who has this kind of thing open on their computer when they are supposed to be working? They knew they were sharing their screen and are trying to blame someone else for their own actions. Anybody else watching the presentation could have also read it during that time. I came here from Twitter because I couldn't believe people thought you're the a-hole. People are acting like you broke into her house and stole her private diary to read to people. You weren't snooping. She put it on effing screenshot for a presentation. If I was in an erotic fiction, I would share it with whoever I damn well pleased. If I knew someone was writing erotic fiction about a friend, I would share it with them because they have a right to know. Privacy is an important concern, but if it violates her privacy, she shouldn't have screenshot it with the office she writes about. Also, people are acting like you should have known he would share it with people. OMG, you have such flimsy excuses. It's not like you sat there for 10 minutes to plan exactly how you would send the story first and then don't tell anyone 30 seconds later to ensure it would spread. It's obvious in retrospect that he would have shared it, but at the time you were just casually texting a friend without thinking. Thought, oh, I should make sure he doesn't share it, and you sent your follow-up text too late. Okay, I'm probably going to get downvoted here, but everyone sucks here. The writer sucks because she is literally writing porn about her unconsenting coworkers publicly. At the very least, I consider that sexual harassment. Just imagine how uncomfortable people would be with this if the genders were reversed. I'm a woman. The website was public and she did leave it open on her computer. Who's to say that other people from work wouldn't have just stumbled upon it? I would be horrified and creeped out to find myself the subject of an erotic story written by my coworker. I'm honestly shocked at the people who don't see an issue with this. Op, you suck because you shared it. Honestly, I don't blame you for being curious if the document was fully visible, and I don't blame you for investigating. But it's pretty clear that the writer feels ostracized in your workplace now and made fun of. If you were concerned, you should have shared this information with HR and not your coworker. I feel it's the professional thing to do rather than sharing to watch drama unfold. This situation sucks all around. You're the a-hole. Your office is probably working from home because of C-19. Most people are already stressed about the situation, working from home, and dealing with the stress of the changes in general. The professional thing to do when you see a personal item, hear something that should be private, kid sneezing in the background, etc., is to ignore it, because most people do not have separate private spaces in their houses where they can separate their work. You took something from someone's private space and shared it with your whole office during a pandemic when people are already stressed to the maximum. You intruded on this person's personal space instead of being professional and completely ignoring it. I hope he takes this 2 hours. I hope your coworkers told you that you shouldn't have shared it, and I hope this man no longer has to work with you when you'll go back to work. Everyone sucks here. If I was the smut author's boss, I would have fired them for having smut on the screen in a presentation / screen share / work computer. Yes, we are all working from home, but use your own hardware for that shit. At the very least, clean your desktop while you are working. That only really counts if you are being forced to do work from your personal computer. You're an asshole for how you handled it. She had something on her screen that should not have been there, and you looked into it. Fair game, it was on her screen. It was NSFW, and she probably didn't mean to have it on her screen, so either STFU and enjoy the porn or report it to ours or her boss, because it should not have been on her screen. But what you did was equally as unprofessional. You could, and in my opinion should, lose your job over it. Causing drama at work and making a hostile work environment for others is not the kind of employee anyone wants. You're the a-hole. Gender reversal or not, the op says that names were changed and anyone outside of the office wouldn't have known who the people were, much less who wrote it, if op hadn't decided to share. This was malicious and gross of opus. They are coming off as that bully that makes other people look bad while making themselves look good, and then still managing to get the blame pushed off onto the originator. Maybe the author should have chosen a different venue to have her erotic fantasies. But this could cost her her job. And in these times, that makes it worse in my opinion. Now if the author had published it, sent it to the people she had written about, then yes, I would agree, asshole. But in this case, op saw something, and then ran a whole marathon of searching, and then sending it to someone else, who then sent it to those other people. It's weird, but it isn't really a-holish of the author to have fantasies about the people around her. It is a-holish to spread those things around to the people they were written about, to the point where the author could get an hour complaint at minimum, and fired at worst. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. See you all later.